matter what happened, I got your back. Baby, that's the facts, yeah. That's the facts, yeah.
We've covered the best, now it's time to get to the rest. I'm Mac from Mac Movie Reviews, and this is my top 10 worst films of 2021. Let's get into it.
I don't like that shit.
At number 10, I have Black Widow. Originally, this was going to be in the top 10 best films of the list year, which I mentioned before in my other video. But I feel like that 10 for the worst list is better because it's not a terrible movie. It's just the victim of being a little too late, a little overdue. A Black Widow movie should have happened back in like 2014, 2015. That's always what I've said. And while it's nice to see the character getting a good send-off in their own solo film, it was just a bit underwhelming. While the acting was good, everything else felt very lackluster. The story was bland, the action felt tamed and boring, and the writing was cringeworthy. Like I said, it's not a terrible film in any way, just very average and okay. And being this love letter to Black Widow and the character and saying goodbye to ScarJo's performance of it, it just felt very low-key. Hence why the 10 spot fits Black Widow the most.
I don't like that shit.
At number 9, I have Matrix Resurrections. What in God's name was this film? I love the original Matrix movie. I think the original Matrix movie is one of the greatest like sci-fi movies made in the 20th like century, in the past like decade. And I even love the Animatrix. Those are like my two favorite Matrix anime. If you don't know what the Animatrix is, the Animatrix is pretty much an animated version of the Matrix where they tell different stories, and they actually got some of the cast members from the movies to voice some of the characters, and I really enjoy that. It's on HBO Max right now. I highly suggest you watch it. But Resurrections was just a damn mess. Like, God bless everyone in this film. I have no hard feelings towards any of the actors or actresses in this film. They all did the best with what they were working for. And to a degree, I'm not even mad at Lana Wachowski here. I feel like that she may have just been contractually obligated to make this film from Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers is on this tyrannical farce trying to get all their properties into the mainstream again. Hence why Space Jam New Legacy, which is not on the list unfortunately, had all these like corporate shill logos and everything. And I think Matrix Resurrection is another victim of that, because I feel like they were just saying, hey, people are nostalgic about the Matrix, right? Why not make another one? And it was just not good. The story felt like it was trying too hard to be meta. The visual effects were garbage, and the writing was just awful, to be honest. And I don't know whether or not I want another Matrix. At this point, it's just not worth it. But I just read that The Matrix Resurrection is not getting a new trilogy. So unfortunately, if this was the last Matrix film we see in a long time, it'll be sad. But at least we know that this series can actually like rest with the first 3 movies, not this one.
I don't like that shit.
At number 8, I have Tom Clancy's Without Remorse. I love Tom Clancy. I appreciate his literature work and the adaptations from some of his from his Rainbow Six series into the video games first. I love them. Rainbow Six Siege is one of my favorite games. This movie just completely shits on everything. I really don't know what Without Remorse was trying to be. An action film, drama, like a mystery. It suffered from tonal whiplash. That's what it did. And Michael B. Jordan, the performance he gave this might have been like one of his weaker performances in my opinion. This last year 2021 was really the year where people really started to get a little bit sick of Michael B. Jordan and calling him not really that great of an actor. And while I say that some of his performances are a bit bland, when he is given good material and a good director, he can do incredibly well. Case in point, when he was Oscar Grant in Fruitvale Station, which was directed by freaking Lee Daniels. That is a film that is tremendous, and I think his acting was great at this. Unfortunately, his range and Without Remorse was just B tier. But he needs the right material to work with, but Without Remorse was not his best performance, and I don't buy him as this macho military tough guy, and Without Remorse was just plain forgettable.
I don't like that shit.
Number 7, I have Disney's Cruella. Why is this getting a sequel? No, really, why? Oh yeah, that's right, money, that's why. The only saving grace in this film that I love is Emma Stone. By no way, shape, or form is this her fault, because she carried this movie on her back with a broken leg on some Greg Jennings type stuff. I gotta put the team on her back though. But yeah, she's the only good. Her as Cruella, one of her best performances, but everything else in this movie is just awful. Why would you make an origin story on a dog murderer, Disney? I don't think anyone was like, man, I really want to know what Cruella was like, what led her to killing dogs to make these pretty coats. And it's just like, no, Disney, nobody cares about that. And this whole live action stuff is getting very, very old. Like, it's these reimaginings and remakes, they need to stop. Like, Disney, stop it. And once again, why is this getting a sequel?
I don't like that shit.
At number 6, I have Spiral. Man, I'll give Spiral this. It was much better than 2017's Jigsaw, because if you've been following me for a long time, I hate that movie. I really think that's one of the worst Saw movies. But I know some people who are like saying that this is the best Saw film since the first one back in 2004, which, first of all, you're wrong. The original 3 movies were good. Saw 2 and Saw 3 were great, and if it ended as a trilogy, we would have been so much happier. But I don't know. It's just, it didn't feel like a Saw movie to me, and it felt like it was a cop crime film that Chris Rock, they wanted him or someone to do, to be like, hey, you know, I want to be like a serious crime job. I'm like, okay, like that. But I feel like along the way, when Chris Rock said that he's a fan of Saw, that they're like, hey, let's make a Saw movie. So do we make it for trash? No, we'll just take this other movie that's in development and we'll just work it around on some God particle like J.J. Abrams did, and we'll make it Saw, and we'll add Chris Rock to it. And that's what it felt like. It didn't really feel like it was meant to be a Saw movie. It was just meant to be like another movie that had Saw elements in it. And I'll give the film credit that they were able to expand the lore of the universe, the world's like universe in the film, and not just, this is not a reboot or a remake. All the events of the previous film have happened. It's just like a new like scenario with it. And I will say that's probably one of the film's biggest strengths of this interesting concept. But everything else in the film was just not done well. And Chris Rock, God bless him, I think he's a great, talented comedian and actor, but him as a serious role as a cop, you could not take him seriously. And I want to see him more in serious roles, see if he can pull it off, because he seems like he's dedicated to the craft, but his performance was not crack-a-lacking.
I don't like that shit.
Number 5, we have Mortal Kombat. So apparently this is the best Mortal Kombat film.
How, Sway?
I must have seen like a different version of this movie than everyone else, because this film was highly disappointing and kind of bad. The story and writing was a complete mess in all sense of the word. Don't get me wrong, the film captures the feelings of the fights and the fatalities from the games, and that's like, that aspect is to be admired. It was done perfectly. However, everything else in the film was just a mess. The story is the biggest letdown of this movie. It doesn't do enough to stand out from being a forgettable video game movie. And the characters, I didn't really care about it. And especially like the two characters you're interested in, Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Sub-Zero's in the movie, but he doesn't really talk or anything. And Scorpion's in there for like 3 minutes in total. Like, hello? Come on. But Kano, definitely the best part of this movie. And it just seemed like it was just a setup movie to make more movies. And I know that that's the trick now, just to make setup movies. But it's like, I want to see the Mortal Kombat tournament, and I know you're setting that up for the next movie, but it's like, it's kind of like a big cock tease. Like, you can't do that. And Mortal Kombat was just plain forgettable and maybe kind of bad.
I don't like that shit.
At number 4, we have Those Who Wish Me Dead. Teetering between comically bad and mediocre at best, Those Who Wish Me Dead is a film that I feel has the most wasted potential than any other film on this list, because the concept and plot like sound really good on paper, like a fire jumper trying to protect a kid from assassins. Like, that actually sounds like that could be a graphic novel plot line or anything. But the execution of this movie was just terrible. A big reason for that, for me at least, was the performance of Angelina Jolie. Now, she killed it in Eternals. I will say she surprised me in Eternals, but she was just severely miscasted in this part. So she's supposed to be this badass fire jumper who protects this kid, is this wilderness survivor. I don't buy it. I did not buy her in this entire movie. I feel like that she was severely miscasted. They could have had like a Salma Hayek or a Charlize Theron, who are proven like, you know, they're badasses, they're tough. They could have played a role like this, but no, Angelina Jolie, because she's going to be in Eternals later the year. So name power, I guess. And it's yeah. And the writing in this film is not good at all too. So there you have it.
I don't like that shit.
Number 3, we have The Kissing Booth 3.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Get it? Because it's The Kissing Booth 3 and it's number 3. Ha ha ha.
Nobody's laughing!
Originally, Tom and Jerry took the number 3 spot, but after walking at my like walking around at my job and seeing the book for Kissing Booth 3, it's like a freaking locked memory in my vault. Remember that I saw this movie and I've seen all 3 Kissing Booth movies. God help me. But I feel like Tom and Jerry is Mozart compared to the Kissing Booth 3. To this concluding final chapter of this terrible Netflix young adult love story. Thank God this series is over. Never did I feel miserable watching a Netflix film as I did watching KB3. Yes, KB3 is his name now. It almost overtook the second film as being the worst. And yes, it's not even the worst. The second one was even worse, but this was like teetering on the edge of like really being bad. And the story was abysmal, writing and terrible, but the characters, like, that's one thing with the series. The characters are all unlikable, especially the main character. Like, no offense to Joey King, like, you know, I like her, she's a good actress and everything, but her character as Elle is so unlikable. She's so whiny, she's manipulative, she's a liar, and she's just not a good character. And you're supposed to root for her in this entire series. You're just like, you, like, really, like, you're not a good character, and you can't make your characters unlikable, and the audiences are not going to care. I didn't care about any of these characters and their struggles because they just seem so stupid and just misplaced. Like, it was just terrible. But I'll give this film one credit, and you'll never hear this from me again. The ending was kind of emotional to me because I did like seeing, although they're unlikable, seeing these characters go from their junior year of high school all the way to the senior year and then all the way growing up at graduated college. That was a little, that got me a little bit. So I'll give you that, KB3. I will give you that.
I don't like that shit.
At number 2, we have Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins. Wow, you bastards really did it. Y'all made Snake Eyes an uninteresting character. Someone who was portrayed as a silent badass in the first 2 G.I. Joe movies is now portrayed as an asshole. Like, what kind of character arc is that? Arc and shift. Like, come on. Not to mention that everything else in this film is fundamentally flawed. The story was uninspired. The action did that stupid shaky cam format that was overused in the Bourne series. And worst of all, the film is just boring in general. Nothing really happens. It's like an hour and 44 minutes, but it really feels like 3 hours. And you can tell this film is horribly edited. They take you, like the shaky cam scenes, you can tell it's like a whole different day of shooting it. It's so bad. And like nothing happened until the end. It is mind-numbingly boring. And that shot in the trailer that we're hyping up where he put on the Snake Eyes helmet, that's the last shot of the movie. They're like, we're gonna come back for Snake Eyes too. No, we're not getting in there with Snake Eyes. You've killed this character. You've killed G.I. Joe. Like, we haven't had a G.I. Joe movie in 8 years, and this is our return. This really looked like it would have been a straight to DVD movie, but they got major budget from whoever the hell. I don't know. Just get to number 1. I hate Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes sucks. That's it. Snake Eyes is terrible. Let's go to number 1, please.
I don't like that shit.
At number 1, I have American Boogeyman, Ted Bundy. There is a short list of people in the industry that I can say that I hate with a burning passion. And Daniel Ferrara is at the top of that list. Now, I'm not judging him by him in real life. He's probably a cool dude and everything, and I don't wish any harm on him. It's just him as a filmmaker, I despise this man as a filmmaker. For 3 years now, in a row, since I've been doing these lists, he has made the top spot of them. 2019, Haunting of Sharon Tate. 2020, The Murder of Nicole Brown Simpson. And then this year, American Boogeyman, Ted Bundy, is not only a terrible movie, it's disgusting. The way they portray the acts of Ted Bundy, it comes off as incredibly disrespectful. That includes the murder scenes, which are done in vivid detail. And that's what he's known for with some of these movies he's doing, is that when he shows the actual killing scenes, he draws it out, makes it all visceral and everything. And it's like, dude, what the hell are you doing? No one wants to watch these movies. And I don't know why he continues to make these movies. That doesn't even count, because this year he made, don't forget he made the, what do you call it? Oh, the American Boogeyman, the Alien Wardrobe story with Peyton List. Like, it blows my mind why he wants his legacy and reputation to be making these trashy exploitation movies. It's just ridiculous. And American Boogeyman didn't make the list because it didn't come out yet, but it's kind of out. But Boogeyman came first. And it's like, When's he gonna stop? Who's next? What's the next trashy exploitation movie he's gonna make and make it disgusting? Don't support Daniel Ferrara. Don't give him your money. Don't watch his movies because these movies are incredibly disrespectful. They're not even terrible, just disrespectful. And that's why American Boogeyman, Ted Bundy, is number 1 on my list. And congratulations, Daniel Ferrara. You have made the number 1 spot 3 years in a row. Let's see if you go for 4 this year, you son of a bitch.
I don't like that shit.